Hey guys, welcome back to my channel called How To. So it's the lab 2 for DMVPN phase 1. Previously we have seen how we have configured DMVPN phase 1 using static mapping. So this section will be covering how we will be using DMVPN phase 1, how we'll be configuring DMVPN phase 1 using dynamic mapping. Okay. So on the hub section, let's quickly configure our setup or our configuration part, and let's see what's the difference that we could see between static and the dynamic mapping. Okay, so I'll be using the same config D interface tunnel 1 IP address. So this is the tunnel interface IP. So the tunnel source should be gig0/0. Tunnel mode would be GRE multipoint, right? And IP NHRP network ID is must, and IP NHRP network ID, that's it. Okay, so running config for interface tunnel 1. So what we have uh, seen the difference between previous and this section is previously whenever we previously on the hub section we were statically mapping our hubs, right, using IP NHRP map, peer tunnel IP address, and then PIB address. That's how we were mapping spokes in the hub, right? So right now we are not doing any static mapping. So that's the difference in the that's the difference we have in the hub section, right? Now let's see what the difference we could see in spokes in the spoke section. Okay, so I'll go to spoke 1 and config D interface tunnel 1 IP address 100.2.0. tunnel source should be our gig0/0. tunnel destination would be public IP address of the hub, and IP NHRP network ID would be 10, similar, whatever it should be same, and IP NHRP NHS, right? So this is the command that we would be using in spoke to dynamically register our spoke to the hub, right? So IP NHRP NHS means whenever we will be hitting this command with the tunnel interface IP of the hub, that is 192.168.100.1. so this command simply means whenever once I'll hit enter, so this spoke will send the registration request. Okay, so this spoke will send registration request to the hub, stating it tells to the hub, it tells spoke who is our next hop server is, so that's what we will be using over here, right? So IP NHRP NHS is 192.168.100.1 and then exit. Okay, so DMVPN. Okay, so running config for interface tunnel 1. So let's see, IP address has been configured, network ID has been configured, IP NHRP NHS has been configured, tunnel source, tunnel destination. Again we missed something, that is static mapping over the spoke section. Interface tunnel 1 IP NHRP map 192.168.100.1. For reaching out this 100.1, what would be our NBM address? It would be like this, right? So DMVPN. Now we'll see the entry here. Okay, so now see the difference, right? So in the previous section, so the up down timer was, I think it was static, right? So right now we could see the state is up, and the uptime for this tunnel is 44 seconds right now, right? So the moment we hit IP NHRP NHS from that section, so like it would send the registration request to the hub, and then our tunnel would be up. Okay, our tunnel will come up. Now similarly on the spoke 2 we'll use the same thing. So config t interface tunnel 1 IP address 100.3, tunnel source is gig 0/0, tunnel destination would be public IP address, IP NHRP network ID would be 10, IP NHRP NHS. Okay, I will be using this NHS part at the end, okay, just to show you. Once we'll hit this IP NHRP NHS, only then our registration request would be sending towards the hub, and then our tunnel will be up. Okay, so meanwhile I'll do IP NHRP map 168.100.1 100.1. So I haven't used IP NHRP NHS 192.168.100.1. so once I'll hit enter, only then our spoke will register to the hub. Okay, so meanwhile let's jump into the hub and see, do we have spoke 2 in our DMVPN? No, right? See, I haven't used that IP NHRP NHS command over spoke 2. That's the reason, like we haven't got any NHRP resolution request over the hub section, and it haven't registered spoke 2 in its entry, in its database. Okay, so just to prove, I'll use one debug command, debug NHRP, right? So I'll just go back to spoke 2 and hit enter. Okay, I haven't hit enter. Now as soon as I'll hit enter, we will see a couple of fields. See, we have NHRP successfully attached for the tunnel endpoint, right, for this public, for this NBMA address, for this tunnel address. So once we have hit that command, then we got this NHRP resolution request over here, and then it has successfully created the entry for the spoke 2. Okay, so a couple of fields we can see there are a lot of things, right? So just to showcase, right? So what's the use of that command? And so DMVPN, now we'll see our spoke 2 entry in the DMVPN section, right? And the tunnel has been created dynamically. So the uptime for this tunnel is 35 seconds. Okay, 35 seconds for this, and for tunnel 1 it was created previously, so it's like 3 minutes and 38 seconds. So that's how that's how this lab 2 is meant for, how we can dynamically create our phase 1 in DMVPN, right? So what's the ease over here? If I'm gonna add any spoke, any spoke, again, if I'll be adding any spoke 3, then I don't need to come back to the hub and and to hit a manual entry for the spoke 3 or spoke 4, spoke 5, and so on, so right. So that's the ease. We don't have to make any sort of changes on the hub section, right? Only we'll be configuring our spoke section, and automatically it will register to the hub, right? So it's the ease of creating phase 1 DMVPN with the help of dynamic mapping. So let's prove, let's ping our spoke 1 and spoke 2 reachability. So it should be reachable. Spoke 1 and spoke 2 should be able to ping themselves each other. So I'll ping spoke 1 192.168.100.3, sorry, 100.2 from spoke 2, right? So from here I'll ping spoke 2, spoke 1 tunnel IP. So it's reachable, right? So if I'll trace route 168.100.2, so the logic, so the flow should be same. It should go via hub. So the first hop would be the hub tunnel interface IP, and then it will jump into spoke 1. So let's see to prove this part as well. So the first hop would be 100.1, that is tunnel 1 hub IP, and then it will reach to spoke 2, right? So in DMVPN phase 1, all the like spoke would be reaching out. Spoke to spoke communication is via hub, right? So in DMVPN phase 1, spoke to spoke reachability is via hub, and using dynamic mapping uh, we just have seen like the difference between the static and the dynamic mapping and the difference in the command section, right? So that's all for today for this lab, and going further I will be jumping into phase 2, uh, DMVPN phase 2, and let's see how we will uh, achieve the configuration part, and we'll verify each and everything in that section. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. See you until next time. I hope this video was informative for you. Bye bye.